back to Between Us Girlies. I'm Casey.
I'm Bran.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm Bailey.
And we have got a spooky episode for you guys. It is officially spooky season, my favorite month. I love October. But before we get into all things spooky, we've got to talk about our weekend, a little weekend recap. And we hung out a lot this weekend.
Sure did.
Does anyone want to start off with how it all started? Our weekend started a little early this week.
Well, thanks to you, we went to Charli XCX on Wednesday.
Thanks to Wells
Sure
Fargo. Got to shout them out. They let us come to see Charli XCX and Troye Sivan in concert, and it was the best night ever.
It was.
Yeah, it was a blast.
I had a blast. Seeing guests live, I didn't realize how much joy that would bring me, but it did. And I think we all can agree on one thing. Troye Sivan is the sexiest man I've ever seen. He exudes something that I need, and I know he doesn't want me.
No, it is like actually concerning that I found him so attractive because I was like, what? This goes against every person I've ever found attractive before in my lifetime. And he is very gay and it's very evident in his performance. And the whole time I was like looking at Bailey like, oh my God.
He made out with a man on stage, and Bailey and I were singing "That Should Be Me" by Justin Bieber.
Like,
Something's
that
wrong
should
with us.
be me.
He just has like rhythm that I don't think a lot of people have. Not that a lot of people don't have it, but a lot of people don't dance like that anymore. And
Yeah.
he just has this rhythm.
I said that let me try to get this. Troye Sivan dances how you should dance to a Troye Sivan song. Yeah. Like, say that back in your own head. But like, he just like, I don't know. He makes you, like I said, I want to put my kids in Juilliard. Like when they pop out, like I need my kids to start dancing so they can get up on his, like, oh my God.
He's like sexy but modern, but traditional, but ballerina-esque. Like I don't know what he's doing, but like I like him.
I like need to know if he's ever had a pimple. Because his skin is like literally the creamiest, most beautiful complexion. I'm like, does he even know what having a pimple
I
feels
don't think
like?
Troye Sivan does not sweat. He doesn't poop. Anything that's gross, like Troye Sivan doesn't do it. Like he doesn't.
The way he put his tank top over his like back and made like a little bra, like the way I've been doing that. But also fashion icon Charli XCX, her streetwear on that stage just ate down. The fact that she put on like little like biker boy short underwear and a long sleeve Skims top, that is my new uniform.
Yeah,
Love it bad.
they're just such good performers. Like Troy is just like a modern day gay pop star, and I like love that. It was so nice to like just see like that representation. Like, okay,
Yeah.
period. And Charli, like she is a performer. Like insane.
I think I knew a collective 10 lyrics from the entire thing, and I didn't really know when one song started and the other ended, but she just puts on a performance.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also haven't, I was thinking about it, I haven't seen like a big production show like that in a while, because I feel like the past few shows I've been to have been to like the Met or like smaller venues in Philly where they're not these giant productions. And I haven't seen like a show at a Wells Fargo Center in a while. It's like
That
so
was my
different.
first one
Really?
at Wells Fargo. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah, I just liked how it was, especially because I was not worried, but I was just wondering how it would go with like just her. And I thought Troy was the opener, so I was like, okay, like it's gonna be him, and then like Charli on stage. I'm like, she doesn't have a band, she doesn't have backup dancers. I'm like, how is that gonna work out? But the way that they flip flop, so it was such a show and like acts and entertaining. I thought that was so brilliant.
Yeah, that was so cool.
It also gave both groups, like fan groups, a chance to admire their artist. Like I just said to Brandon the other day that there's this act that I love, this group, and they're opening for an artist that I do not want to see, and because of that I'm not going to their show. But like, let's say you're a freak and you don't like Charli XCX and you're just going for Troye Sivan, or vice versa, like you are truly getting all of that artist.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, like where we were at, like we were in a suite, which if you have enough friends to rent one of those for a show you like inviting a lot of people and you all going in on it, that was so nice to have our own private bathroom and like our own area. I was like, wow, you take like for granted how nice it is to be able to just pee in the middle of a show and not miss anything.
And sitting down. I mean, granted, like we go to shows, you can sit down, but like I feel like sometimes when you're at a concert, I feel obligated to stand up the whole time.
Yep.
So I feel like in a suite, I'm like, okay, I can sit down and no one's gonna give a fuck.
Yeah.
I also heard some drama. So I knew two people in the pit for the concert. One of them said everyone was doing poppers, which I love. 2 said that people were like, guys were giving each other blowjobs and girls were fingering each other in the pit during all the different songs. And she was like, it was literally just like gay sex everywhere. And it was great.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts.
I would love to see the footage.
Yeah. I'm like, why did they put that on the big screen?
Oh, is that crazy?
That really doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I was like, oh, that totally checks with the like just party girl like energy that was in Wells Fargo. I'm not surprised.
It was a club.
It was literally a club.
Yeah.
Club Charlie and Troy.
Club classics.
Yeah, so we did that. That was Wednesday. And then Friday we went to dinner at a spot that we've been to dinner before. So we went to Sushi by Bo. I think it's pronounced.
Boo?
Boo? Sushi by
Sushi
Boo?
by Boo?
Yeah. You're right. Which is an omakase like sushi experience, I guess, in Center City. And we went, and that sushi was so fucking good. Like those bites are just so delicious and like
good.
savory. And oh my God, I'm like obsessed.
Yeah. I haven't stopped thinking about that miso cod with like the tuna. The tofu puree cream on top. Oh, so good.
Yeah, that shit slapped every single course.
Yeah. I feel like that's like the perfect like girl like night out because you can go the omakases. I think it was 12 courses. So it's a good amount that you're full, but not so much like you're eating a pasta dinner before going out at night.
Yeah.
So you can go there, sit for the omakase dinner, and then at 10 it turns into a bar. It's where Lead and the Swan used to be. So it's like a very like I love the bar setup there. We've had very fun nights there. So I'm really excited to see a new place enter Philly. I feel like it's a very different like concept to be able to like eat an omakase dinner and then have a DJ right there. But I think it's really fun.
It was an absolute blast.
It
Yeah.
was.
Our chef was incredible. The food was incredible. The vibes were incredible. But I do needed to have an immunity necklace given to me at this time. Unless anyone else has something to say about Sushi by Boo. Any of you? Great. So where we had an excellent experience to kick off the night. Again, immunity necklace. To kick off the night. You know, omakase only runs about an hour or so. So we looked at each other. We said, oh, let's go get a drink after this. So we headed to a place that you all probably know of. Should I just? No. You know what? We'll keep it to ourselves, the name. But this is a place that we've been before. It's relatively low key, but also in the mix. If you can't get a reservation at one of your favorite restaurants in the area, this might be a good backup, if that's a good way to describe it.
It's right in the heart of like in the heart of every other restaurant. It's right there.
Well, it's not a good backup, but what we thought would be a good backup. So we get there, and it is crowded in there. People are on dates. People are having a great time. And there is a server coming out a server comes out of the restaurant with a plate of something that just looked tasty and delectable. And I stopped the server, and I said, excuse me, what was that? And she looks at me like I insulted her mother. She looked at me like I was an ogre. And she said what the item was, but it was so much disgust. And I was like, that was weird, but like maybe they're just busy, like they hate us, whatever. We sit down, and the energy was the same. The staff just looked at us like we were the devil's spawn, like they did not want to serve us. And I'm not exaggerating. Like we felt so uncomfortable. Then the food came out. You know what? You guys can.
Well, the one thing I wanted to say was just like when you asked her that, she wasn't walking to the table. Like she had delivered the food and come back. So it wasn't like you were like holding her up or you stopped her when she was like busy. Like she dropped off the food and you so like nice and like excited. We're like, oh my God, what was that? In a total normal way. And the way she whipped her head around to look at you, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
I will say, from another party's perspective, this also like goes in with that place. She looked so overstressed and overworked. Like she was, because I saw her running through that restaurant with that plate, like before she got to that front door. And like, I could tell she was like, it was like the chef, the bear. Like she was, I thought Gordon Ramsay in that back. Like that girl was on a mission. So I knew when you opened your mouth, I'm like, oh, she's about to break the camel's back. So I think when you did that, I thought she was about to have a nervous breakdown. And then, so then that was one. Then we had to start standing outside because I'm like, oh, they want us out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what do we get? So the thing that Lindsay asked this sweet, kind girl, were these apple dumplings, right?
Beignets, yeah.
Yeah, beignets. They were all right.
No. They were delicious.
They were really
I
good.
loved them.
Yeah.
I hate that restaurant, but one thing they're going to put down they were exceptional.
What else did we order?
Well, there's one thing I don't forget.
Well, okay, yeah. I just didn't know if it was those beignets, the fries,
We got
and then
beignets of fries, and then we tried a pasta dish, or I guess a butternut squash risotto. It wasn't our favorite.
It was one of those things where I had to I took a few bites to understand what was wrong with it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put it on my tongue until we got in the car, and I said it was too vinegary.
Yeah.
It tastes like vinegar and rice.
Yeah.
Would you say it?
We also agreed that it was over seasoned yet bland at the same time.
Yeah.
And I didn't love the cook on it. Like I kind of like when my risotto's a little softer and it was like really like crunchy almost.
That's what it was.
Or like
Rice. That's kind of what you like a rice, but like undercooked rice. Risotto is supposed to be a creamy kind of melt in your mouth, but still has a bite. I'm hungry. Has a bite type of hearty meal. It's supposed to fill you. I wouldn't eat that pasta unless Jesus himself told me to. It was so sensationally god awful. It was dreadful.
But I think also because there was butternut squash. I forgot what else was in it. All I tasted was like it was just one big mush, right?
Yeah, it was very mushy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so funny because I feel like we were on such a high from the sushi dinner. We were like, let's just go get another drink. We were so excited. We go sit down. They don't have the drinks that three of the four of us ordered. They're like, well, we can't make that. So then that just kind of ruined the vibe. Then the service was bad. Then the food was bad. And I was like, damn, we should have just left after sushi.
I thought it was kind of hilarious. But yeah, it was rough. Wasn't our strongest choice. But you know, you win some, you lose some.
So that was Friday night. Did we do anything? Do you guys do anything this weekend? Anything else fun?
Yeah. Saturday was the Fishtown Festival. I know Casey popped out in the morning. So Casey popped out in the morning. And we had plans of going on like what, 1, 2, 2:30. No, it was like 3 o'clock. Yeah. But it's like a rainy day, but still the crowds were out. Like that was such a nice festival because it was all in Fishtown. It was all in Frankfurt, which is a massive street. I didn't realize how long it was till we were walking it. And there were so many vendors, so many food trucks. I ate down, quite literally.
The Deli Street Bakery, y'all, if you haven't had it, you need to have it. I got like strawberry crunch banana pudding, which came typical like banana pudding, but what Bailey got,
it was a it was a pound cake, but strawberry banana pudding on top of that.
Wow.
So a full piece of pound.
Hungry.
So good. My stomach was torn up that next day. I ate it all because I fucked up. I was like, I'm gonna eat this all in one sitting, and I had a few bites. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do it. Boom, like 3-5 more spoonfuls gone.
lish.
But it's funny because I bought that. We were walking around all day. I bought that in the morning. I didn't realize I was going to be staying out and drinking because I thought it was going to be a quick 1, 2, I'm going home. No, we walked around. Then we went to Garage. I had about 3 statesides there.
Yep.
Then we went to
Urban Village.
Yeah, Urban Village. We went there, got some pizzas, some salads, breadsticks, and I got an espresso martini there. I was feeling good.
How is their espresso martini?
It was pretty good. It had a lemon peel on it, so it was really nice. But moral of the story is I held that pound cake all day.
Yeah, you had that bag the whole day.
I was not leaving. I went to we were at Garage and I literally walked to go get weed real quick. And I was like, I'm like, please y'all watch this bag for me.
They were like, do you think she's going to come back? I was like, oh, she's coming back. She left the pound cake. I was like, she's not leaving.
I came back, had my pound cake and a stateside lemonade. It was bad.
I love that.
Yeah.
No, it was a fun festival. I was laughing because it was a shitty day, like you said. And I just feel like if you put tents up and call something a festival in Philly, people will show up.
Yeah.
Like you could very literally do it in a dark alleyway and people will be like, oh, there's a festival today.
That's so
like
true.
no one was fazed by the weather. It was crazy.
Literally.
Yeah. And then Sunday, me and Lindsay did some more big back shit. I have a Chili's gift card, and I noticed on the back that it says good at Maggiano. It was Little Italy. And I was like, Lindsay, let's go. So we went, and Lindsay brought to my attention that they had a special online that we didn't see on the menu, and it was called Marco's Meal for Two.
You guys are fucking.
In this, dinner selection, you get an appetizer, 2 pasta entrees, and a dessert. So I asked the waitress, I said, hey, this isn't on the menu. And she was like, oh, we're actually a destination location, so some things don't go on our menu, but we can honor that for you. I said, great, we'll get that. These dishes are massive, like family style platters. And y'all know that I eat big, so if I'm saying that, it's insane. I knew instantly when she brought them out after me and Lindsay already housed basically a whole bread basket. Like we were already full.
We also got whipped ricotta.
Yep. We got whipped ricotta as our
Wow.
appetizer. And then the pastas came out and I was like, oh my God, we should have had someone else come here with us. It was deplorable.
What else did you get?
Well, we got fettuccine Alfredo with chicken. And we got 4 cheese ravioli in a pesto and Asiago cream sauce.
Oh,
Wow.
Yup.
that sounds scrumptious.
It was.
And then we had a tiramisu to share, which was not a typical size tiramisu.
Oh, it was a big
It was
one?
a tiramisu because we both had to eat it.
Not the tiramisu.
Yeah, it was big.
Wow.
And what did we both eat for lunch today?
The leftovers.
Marvelous. Simply marvelous.
Wow. Are they owned by the same company, I guess?
I guess so. It was Chili's, Maggiano's, and On the Border. Never been there.
Wow.
I've
But
never been there.
I
maybe
didn't
the
know they
next
were
time.
all connected.
Yeah. Apparently.
Well, Maggiano's, I'm going to rate it an 11 out of 10.
Yeah, it was great.
And
Our
Chili's, I
waitress
feel
was
the same.
amazing.
They don't miss.
They
Wow.
were. Y'all know I love me some chain restaurants. I was like, wow, this is what American Italian
Yup.
should taste like.
Yup.
Oh, it was crazy. But yeah, a weekend full of eating good.
Wow,
Another
some
one.
Big back shit.
My unsolicited rec, I'm giving it early this week. My unsolicited rec is to cry. I think crying is so freeing.
Yeah,
And I had
good.
such a good cry yesterday that I've actually been thinking about it all day. Like,
Well, I love that.
I had all my panic attacks start when like little shit happens. And it's a bunch of like little shit all one after the other. So I just had like a bunch of random little shit. Then I'm watching the Eagles game and it was so god awful terrible. That was the most embarrassing display of football I've ever watched. And I had to take my car into the shop because my car is making this weird noise. And I just knew. I was like, this is a bad Sunday. The Eagles are terrible. And I know they're going to call me and say something's wrong with my car. At halftime, I get a call from my car place. They're like, yep, your car has this is wrong. It's $1,000 to fix
Oh
it.
no.
I said, yeah, okay, thanks. I was like, I share the car with my family. Let me talk to them. I just was in shock and didn't know what to do. So I hang up. I'm like texting everyone I know who knows about cars, like sending them what was wrong, trying to figure out if I could find it somewhere like cheaper. This went on. It was my parents were trying to figure out where to eat. It was all these things
gosh.
stressing me out. And I just broke down in tears. And it was like the most like relieving feeling of my life. Like I just had such a good cry. And after I got done, I was like, oh, I can figure it out. I can pay for my car. I can do this. I can do that. And it all worked out. So if you have been waiting to cry, pause this podcast, let it out, and then put it back on because you will feel so much better afterwards.
Oh, excellent
Snaps
advice.
to that
It was
case.
so good.
That's really good.
Yeah, I was like, I have to talk about this on the podcast, like
Yeah.
crying. But it was honestly, we all should do it.
We should. I cried too much. What was I crying out earlier? No, I can't.
I cry to TikTok like every 10 seconds.
I cry at everything. I have a vivid memory of me dropping a Swiss roll on the floor at middle school lunch. Boy, was I in tears. I'm not kidding. I can cry like that.
Do you think you could cry if like an acting class, can you cry on command?
Oh no. But if I think about something that makes me sad, which is quite literally everything, trust and believe I could.
Yeah.
I love to cry.
It's so
Me too.
It's so nice. That's the only thing I don't like about getting Botox is because like the first month after getting Botox, crying feels weird because you can't scrunch at least for me, like I can't scrunch my face the way I normally do when I cry. It's giving very much like Kim K when she cries because like your face just can't make the same expression. So that's like the only downside of getting Botox is crying doesn't really feel the same.
Like my eyes are always just filled with water. Like I'm always gonna cry. I'm literally trying to think what I was crying out earlier because it was so simple and stupid that like I was just like bawling my eyes out and I was like, fuck. But I always cry when I'm laughing because I feel like my eyes are just like
Yep.
full with water all the time.
That's like my favorite laugh from you. Is like I know you are cracking up when you start crying because it like you'll laugh loudly and then it goes silent and then we all look over and you just have tears streaming down your face.
Something happened before we started recording and I was like, fuck, I can't cry now. I'm like, we haven't even had these cameras on yet.
I feel like I didn't tell this story on the podcast, but I cried recently at the grocery store. Did I tell this story? You guys, I was having a terrible day. Brandon was with me. I was having a terrible day, and I just wanted some cotton candy grapes. And I get to the checkout, and you have to have the person at the checkout ring out your cotton candy grapes for whatever reason. And The lady rings them up after punching in a bunch of numbers, and they came up as $10.
Fuck.
And I said, "Oh, baby, I don't want those. Put those back." She said, "You go over there, you pull out some grapes, and you put them in a bag, and I'll ring those up." And I said, "Period. I don't recommend that. I'm not telling you what grocery store it is." And she made my day so much better to the point where it was like, I swear God put her in my day just to make me feel better. And I cried and I said, "You have no idea like how much of a blessing you've been to my day. Like just your energy and like helping me." And I hugged her in a warm embrace. And every time I see Carla at the checkout, I give her a big hug.
Well, it's beautiful.
It was really sweet.
Cute.
Oh.
Miss
was
her
there.
bad.
Well, in honor of spooky season, we decided to tell some spooky stories, ranging from just kind of all things scary. Does anyone want to go first?
Yes. So
All yours.
only because these two things happened yesterday, so I haven't even told you guys about them. Oh my God, my throat. My heart to my throat. So there's two things that happened. What do I want to start with? I'll start with the dark one. So I went to Cherry Hill, New Jersey yesterday to do some shopping. And I was on my way back and I'm thinking, wow, I'm getting home so fast. No, I'm pulling up like kind of right when you're about to get to the toll to get back into Philly. Sorry. And there's like a stop and I was like, uh-oh. It said like, Waze said police reported ahead. And they blocked the highway. So I was like, uh-oh, what's going on?
Not this again.
Yeah, again. And so, but it wasn't even like as close as we were last time. Like it was only like, because also Sunday. And I also purposely go to the mall on Sundays at 11:30 because I know games are starting at 1. So it's less people. So fuck, everyone's going to take that idea. And so it wasn't too many people. And I also like got up there. So it wasn't bad. Like everyone had to do the zipper. I was being a bitch. I was like, zipper it! So we can just get to the one because we had to go off to an exit and have to go into Camden to get back onto the highway, whatever. And I'm thinking, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because I only see like one police car. I don't see like any ambulance, like nothing like crazy. As I'm going slow and like rubbernecking, oh my God, I just see like a shoe in the middle of the highway and then like just a shoe. And that looked eerie as fuck to me. Then I just see a pair of pants on the ground. Like, you know, when you step out of your pants, like say you're like on the toilet, your pants are like around your ankles, like you just step out of them like that, just like that. I'm like, that's so fucking crazy. Then I was like, I already had a suspicion like something happened because I look up and I see there's an overpass and I just like have a bad feeling someone jumped. And as I'm getting closer, because there's nothing on the road, there's nothing on the ground, so I don't have to do the cleanup that quick. But then I got to the car because there was like the car that was involved in the accident. The windshield is so smashed and it just looks like someone like, I don't know, obviously, but it just was so eerie and like concerning. And there's just like, I just couldn't put my pieces together because there's no like proof on the ground except for like that and the windshield. And I was like, oh my God.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Bro,
I know.
why would you tell that?
Oh, I'm so sorry that I was trying to like,
I feel sick.
I know I need to like do some digging to see like what happened, but it was just so like, it was only 2 cop cars. Like that's the thing. There wasn't like so many people. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So that's story number 1. So my goodness. Story number 2. Last night, I ordered some Domino's because I wanted pizza again. And I washed my hair last night. I cleaned my apartment, ordered my Domino's. I go down and get it, right? And I'm a big fan of delivery people. I even tipped like, whatever. I tip my delivery people well. Tipped them $5 actually. But that was like more than the 20%. But anyways, and he calls me, says he's there. And then I look out the fucking door and he's sitting in his car waving at me to come there. And I'm like, I do DoorDash a lot. I don't really order from the big chains that much anymore, like directly. But I was like, I thought it was like door to door. Like, why the fuck am I getting out of my apartment building and going down steps to go to your fucking car? So it's dark out at this point. It's like 7:30. And I'm walking to his car. He's not getting out of the car either. So like rolls his window down. I'm like, I was high as hell. Like it was the perfect like Sunday night. Like, you know, that high where it's just like, I was about to put the movie on, have my food, whatever. And I have never been so a little scared in my life. This big black guy with dreads. And he reaches, well, no, I don't think he even reached in the bag yet. So I walk up to the window, which was already annoying because I even tipped you to come up to the door. And he just rolls down his window, big old man, dreads, has the hat on. And I knew it was the car because I see the Domino's sleeve right next to him, whatever. and he's saying something to me, but he's mumbling. And y'all know me. I'm like, what? Like, I couldn't, my ears, my brain were not like, I was high. And I just could not get it down. I was like, what? Like, I probably like 5 whats. But he also wasn't taking the food out. So that's how many whats I was doing. And it was like, he said it. And what did he say? He was like, I'm trying to change your life. But not in an excuse me way. It sounded like he was trying to murder me. Like, I thought he was going to traffic me. He was like, I'm trying to change your life. But like, said it so like terrifying and threatening. And he was like, I was like, what? And he just like kept doing that. And like finally was getting my fucking pizza out. And he was like, but he wasn't, until I said okay, like he had his hand on that pizza and was not giving it to me.
Ew.
Like I was, shut the fuck up, Lindsay.
Lindsay is literally about to pee herself laughing.
No, it's dark as hell. There was no one walking their dog like they usually are. And he was just like, I would literally thought he was going to take me in that trunk and then drive away.
And this was a Domino's employee?
Yes. So I couldn't even report it. Like, I wanted to go on DoorDash so bad and be like, no, but it was Domino's.
That's crazy.
But like, I got so scared because he stayed there. Like, by the time I got up to like my door, I was like, oh my God, he's coming after me. I ran with that pizza box inside. I sprinted up those steps, double locked. Because I was like, if I take the elevator, he's going to come after me. He's going to see the floor I'm on. Yeah. Then I literally was like, I've never.
Crazy.
So I didn't leave my house today until this podcast because I thought someone was after me. So, what?
I'm trying to change your life.
It's like I'm trying to change it. But the way he said it was sinister, you guys. It was so evil.
That's insane.
Evil. Evil.
Wow, that's actually like the fact that you even went over there. Like, I feel like I would have played chicken at the door. I would have been like, "You come over here," and he would wait.
I should have called him because you're lucky. No, he's not. I'm lucky. I had my keys to get back in the building because I like thought about. I was like, I never really take my keys down here, but why don't I just do it? And I thought, I'm like, I wish I had a man. Because if I had a man, he would be with me in that situation.
I guess it's better that he didn't come to the door, though, because he might not have left the door.
Yeah.
Right.
He might have come right into the lobby.
Oh, you're right.
So.
You hear that, Domino's? She needs a gift card for her troubles.
Honestly, I'm hot.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I guess I can go next.
Let's hear it.
I've done a lot of stupid shit on that app Grindr before, but in one particular instance, it did almost take my life, I would say. It was someone's 21st birthday. I forget who it was. And I left the day drink early to go meet up with this complete stranger off of Grindr. He lived in this huge mansion in Plymouth Meeting. So like 15 minutes away from school. And well, there's a reason I said that. It was on this, I'm not going to drop the street name, but I remember exactly what street it was, everything. It was this very spaced out street, massive houses. He lived with his parents, but he had the whole basement floor to himself. It was like his own little in-law suite or whatever. I get down there and he is drinking Jack whiskey, like straight out of the bottle. And I was like, okay. Interesting. But I was kind of fucked up at this point too. And I already like sized it up and I'm like, okay, I don't want to do anything with this man, but I already came all the way out here. So I have to entertain it for like an hour before I can get out. No, you don't. You really don't have to do that. You can leave. But I was just like, let's just see what happens here. Yeah. So he starts acting very suspicious, probably between the Jack running through his veins and any other trauma. And then I decided to just pry a little bit more. Never ask someone what their tattoo means. Just don't. I made that mistake, and he told me a story that I realized was very traumatizing to him and kind of made sense as to why he was in the headspace that he was in. But he did not want me to leave. At one point, he asked if he could touch my nose, and I was a little bit confused. He graced my nose, and at that point, I was like, I've got to get out of here. The problem was, as I mentioned, I'm in the middle of the woods, and I'm in a basement. So it is taking me forever to even get service on my phone to call a car. And then by the time I finally get one, it is like 11 minutes away, which at this point just feels like these are my last 11 minutes on the earth.
Stop it, Brandon.
Yep, very scary. Eventually, I make my way out of there, and I did feel bad, me always feeling bad for the crazy people, but he like gave me such a tight hug that I was like, okay, I've got to get in the car now. So then I get in the Uber, and I tell this lady, I'm like, you have no idea, you just saved my life, like, thank you so much. And she's like, oh, ha, 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 like, that's so funny. She gets a call from the driver, or from the person that she drove before. This man is angry. He was like, you have my wallet. I left my wallet in your car. Like, he's freaking out on her. She then turns to me and says, I just saved your life. She goes, you have to come with me now because I'm scared of this man. Oh, no. I said, wait a minute.
What?
I didn't sign up for this. She takes me to a not safe area. I started piecing together why she wanted me to go with her. At this point, I've already almost died tonight. Now, this woman who I thought was my saving grace is now taking me to another location to drop this wallet off to this man. At this point, I'm like, I understand like that you wouldn't want to go alone, but I'm not really going to help you. Like, I'm not the toughest person here, but I didn't have a choice. I was locked in her car. Yeah. So she dropped this wallet off to a very, very scary man in a very, very scary neighborhood. And I did make it home that night by all graces. But
Brandon.
Insane.
Yeah,
Oh my.
I think you could write a coffee table book about your experiences with Uber drivers.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And
should.
dates, honestly. That I was literally trying to pick what was the scariest Grindr story I had, and that was out of a collection of several. So we can save the next for another time.
Wow.
I feel like mine isn't that spooky, but kind of spooky. So I have a problem where somebody smiles and is nice to me, and for some reason I want to be their best friend. I want to help you, blah, blah, blah. So Brandon and I have been walking past this boutique for a very long time, and he's like, Lindsay, these clothes are so cute. You should go in and get some. So we go into the boutique, and over the boutique speakers, I hear worship music, like Hillsong United worship music. And for the listeners, I'm a Jesus girl. So I looked at the girl behind the counter, and I was like, oh, like, is this like a Christian boutique? Like, she's like, no, this is just my playlist. Like, I'm sorry. I love worship music. I can turn it off. And I was like, no. Like, I love it. Like, it's just really nice, like, to see that. Like, I'm not surrounded by that anymore. So it's just nice. So we kind of like hit it off a little bit. And I'm like, oh, this is so great. I was like, oh, do you have a church home? Like, I went through some trauma as a kid and I lost my church home. So I've always been looking for a new one. And I would love to go to a church that is more millennial. So I had a purpose for connecting with this girl. And I was like, oh, like, do you go to a church, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, like, take my number, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, awesome. So I say to Brandon, I'm like, that was so nice. I'm going to have a new Christian friend who's black. Like, maybe I'll go to her church and visit, yada, yada. As a kid, my mother always told me, never go to strange churches. In fact, I had a friend who was obsessed with a man because he was a Christian. And she dragged me to his church one Sunday, and my mother went with me because she's like, I don't want you going to strange churches because that's where weird things start. So I've always kept that in the back of my mind. But, I'm pretty sound in Christ. So I was like, if something looks weird, I'm out.
That's good advice, though.
It is.
Yeah, that
and
is.
I've never had to really exercise it until this point. So I was like, let me get a good feel on this girl. I'll invite her out because the last thing I need is a Christian friend who's going to judge me for doing ungodly things. Y'all listen to the podcast. We know I'm on that type of time. So I was like, I'm going to invite this girl out, see what her vibe is. And then if I'm interested, I'll go to church with her on Sunday. I invite her out, and her energy is bizarre. Number one, we were going to Morgan's Pier, and she was wearing a full-blown ball gown. Not like a cute, tight Skims dress, like a full-blown, like, I'm going out.
Sherry Hill.
Not so much Sherry Hill, but a little, sure. So I was like, okay, this is weird, but whatever. We go to Morgan's Pier. I'm with a few other people, and I'm like, this is fine, whatever. The night wasn't going well. I wanted to go hook up with my boyfriend at the time. I was like, I got to go home. So I call my Uber, and she's like, well, can I come back with you? And I was like, sure. Most people would just call their own Uber to their home, but I was like, sure. So instead of going to my boyfriend at the time's house, I called it back to my house. And we get back, and she's like, I'm hungry. And I was like, eat. Like, okay. She's like, well, do you want to get food? And I was like, sure. At that point, I had already been close enough to my house where I wanted to drive to my boyfriend's house because I knew I was going to sleep there, and I knew I would want my car in the morning. So since I was already home, I was like, to get this girl out of my life, I was like, I will take you I'll drop you off at this taco truck down the street from us, and then I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna go to my boyfriend's house. This girl made me sit here with her until she got her tacos. No. She forgot her card. She was like, can you pay for this? Blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, oh, this girl is a nightmare. Like she's just being insane. So she, nothing too crazy, but that's not someone I wanted to hang out with. So I was like, I'll still go to church with you, but like, I can tell what type of time you're on now. Like you're a handful. So she asked me if I wanted to hang out the next day. That was a Friday. This is Saturday. She asked me if I wanted to hang out the next day. And I didn't answer her. And you don't know me. I don't answer any of you. So I don't know why she thought she was special. The only people I really answer is my mom. And she was like blowing up my phone, like, you're not texting me back. Like, do you want to hang out? On Saturdays, I sleep. Mm-hmm. So she gets very upset with me, like very, very upset. And she sends me a text and she's like, could you call me? And I was like, okay, sure. Like, sorry, I was napping. So I called her. I'm like, hey, girl, what's up? And she was like, I just like don't know how this friendship is going to work out. And I was like, I've known you for 48 hours, like literally 48 hours. And she was like, well, you just like aren't answering my calls. And like the only reason like I even wanted to hang out with you is because, and this is where my mother's advice came in. She said, I really wanted to bring you to my church and be friends with you because all the girls at my church are really pretty and they're all really young girls. And I just thought it would be a really good addition to have you join my all pretty girl group at church. Oh. And I thought in the back of my head, I said, oh, this is either you're part of the occult or I'm going to get trafficked. Oh, yeah. Pretty girls at church, we're going for Jesus. Yeah. God doesn't care what I look like. Mm-hmm. It was bizarre. I was like, oh, my. I dodged a bullet. And what you do, something my dad taught me, crazy trumps crazy. So anytime someone's crazy, if you meet their crazy and maybe level it up a little, you will always succeed. I just fed into her. I was like, I'm so sorry. That will never happen again. I was such a bad friend to you. Let me make this up to you. Blocked.
Wow.
Haven't seen her since.
She's crazy.
She was crazy.
That's wild.
Actually scary.
She was crazy.
Fully recruiting you.
Mm-hmm. For whatever mission and use the name of Jesus to recruit me to whatever bullshit she was in. I wasn't into that.
Nah, using the good Lord like that.
So sick. Sick and twisted.
So my spooky story, I'm surprised like I've never told you guys this story because it used to be like a story I told all the time, but maybe I just blocked it out of my memory because it was quite traumatic. So this was when I was in my freshman year of college when I lived out in LA. My sister and I were like, let's go to the San Diego Zoo for the day because we lived close enough that we could drive there. I'd always wanted to go. They have a sloth reserve there. Aww. And my sister loves sloths. So she was like, oh, I really want to go, whatever. So we drive up to go to the San Diego Zoo. The sloth exhibit was closed, so we didn't get to do that. We spend the whole day there and we're leaving. And I don't remember exactly where we were in San Diego, but we were on this really long strip. I think they call it like Restaurant Row or Restaurant something. And it's like a bunch of restaurants, kind of like their version of a main street. And we were stuck in crazy traffic. So like it was a bunch of lights. So we were just staring at like the same things over and over again because you're stuck in traffic. So I was pretty much just like people watching all the people around me. And I see this homeless woman around the corner. And she's standing on the corner of a restaurant and she was like visibly homeless. Like she, just was standing there. She was like kind of yelling at the people passing by, whatever. And I see this man walk past with this really little like Yorkie dog. And the dog like kind of like starts barking at her, not like aggressive, but enough that like she got like annoyed. And so the guy's trying to like rein the dog in and she's getting angry that the dog is like, I guess, barking at her or whatever. This all happened, I swear to God, in 5 seconds, but I watched it like it was in slow motion. He's standing there trying to get his dog under control. She pulls her pants down, bare naked pulls her pants down. I saw her whole Vivi, okay? Pulls her pants down. She takes her hand, wipes her butt with it, and slaps this man across the face. I swear I cannot make this up. The way that I was in complete shock. Like I watched this whole thing go down, right? What do you do when you see something like that? You go into shock. My jaw was on the ground. My sister's driving and she's like, what was that? Why are you freaking out? What's going on? Say something. And I could not muster up the words to explain what I had just witnessed. It was so insane that I actually like questioned if it was reality. Like I was like, did I just make that up in my head? But I fully saw her pull her pants down, wipe her hands with her butt, and slap him in the face. And he like was so stunned.
I was gonna say, what did he do?
He was so stunned that he didn't really know what to do. And she like didn't get like full like face to hand contact. She kind of like her like fingers more got him, but it was still it was still fucking crazy. And when we were talking about like a spooky story to tell, I was like, oh, that's the fucking scariest thing I've ever witnessed in my life.
I would be in prison.
How do you like go on with your day?
Actually.
It would be, if that had been me, I would have, oh my goodness. Someone would have needed to call the cops.
Yeah,
because
that's
I would
like,
have been fighting in the. I would have been fighting a homeless woman. That is the nastiest. That is the nastiest thing I have ever heard.
Was there stuff on her hand?
I was luckily far enough away that I didn't see any close details.
All right.
But I will never forget he was wearing like a tank top and he had these really cute glasses on. And I remember like seeing him before it all went down thinking like, oh, like he was this like, he just seemed like a fun, bubbly personality. Yeah. And then seeing that, I was like, oh, he's never going to be the same.
No, he's never going to be the same.
His life was changed forever and I witnessed it.
No, he's in therapy. That's bad, bro.
Yeah.
I don't imagine the amount of like, you know, when you touch something gross and like you have to wash your hands like 6 times.
Well, that's like hepatitis though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm going to the ER.
Like yeah, like poop carries disease.
Yeah.
Oh my
Burn my fucking skin.
No, like I would really need a chemical peel after that.
On your face too? I know there was
Did anyone else see it, you think?
I don't know. I've never, if anyone else saw this and is listening, please DM me.
I wasn't sure if there was other people on the street that were like,
there were, because it was like the corner of a kind of looked like a coffee shop. So there were people like around. So I don't really like remember like what happened afterwards. I just remember being in shock and my sister being so mad at me because like I couldn't explain what I had just witnessed. And she was like, will you please just fucking say something? And I was like, I can't.
Damn.
What do you say?
wow.
Oh, she had like a dash cam.
I know. What if there was like CCTV footage of this entire thing?
It'll probably be on TikTok.
I hope.
Wow.
Well, that man definitely, he saw things and she took it over the line. And that brings me to my next point. Where do you draw the line? So I watched 2 podcasts over the weekend where I usually think to myself that we're all aligned when things are sick, like how we all just reacted to Casey's story. But then I realized that there are some things that I would just never do that other people do. So the first one I saw was a podcast where a girl was talking about how she offers her toothbrush to friends that are staying with her, to her boyfriend, her parents. And I found that to be so sick because even you throw your toothbrush away after some time. So I was like, wow, do people share their toothbrushes? And then, so the person on the podcast with her was like, no, that's absolutely disgusting. And she was like, really, you think? And then another podcast I saw was 2 girls, and they are sisters, but they share their underwear. And they share a series of 2 bras, one in nude and one in black. And sharing a bra with your sister, like, fine. I'll share a bra with my sister, but a communal underwear drawer, like Vivi's, we'll use Casey's word. They carry a lot of nastiness that even I wouldn't want shared with my close. I'm talking about myself. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable giving either of you a pair of my panties.
Yeah.
Let alone maybe even my bra. So I just
feel comfortable asking you for a pair.
Yeah.
For a pair of
right.
yours.
Like I would just honestly, I kind of like being free. So like I would just. Where do you draw the line? Like, is it gross? Is it okay? Like, how do we feel about
No, it's
those?
not okay.
The toothbrush thing is insane.
Yeah.
That is just bad oral hygiene. That's not safe. No.
You said the toothbrush one they share it with like guests?
So she was with her boyfriend and she was talking to her boyfriend about it. And her boyfriend said, that's gross.
Oh, okay.
And then she was like, I had a friend stay with me over the weekend and I offered my toothbrush to her as well. So I guess if she thinks your mouth is clean, that the toothbrush is fine.
There's GoPuff, there's DoorDash, there's Postmates. There's so many ways to have a toothbrush delivered to you. And it does not have to be your friends.
Yeah, I'm not brushing my teeth if that's the case. Like,
Yeah, I'm sloshing toothpaste around in my mouth.
Yeah,
I
would
also like
never
have
borrow.
extra toothbrushes in my apartment in case someone needs it. Like why not just have extras on hand? You know?
Yeah, so like right off the bat, the toothbrush thing, no. And then to take it up a notch with the underwear thing. Now, granted, like they're washing it and it's shared, but still that's like, I don't know. That's just not something I'm like super. I'm also weird with sharing clothes. Like I don't know. I'm not the best at shit. Like if it's something that I really, really like, I get nervous giving it away, like letting people use it, because I've had one instances where I had my favorite shirt ever ripped at a party once in college, and I'll never get over it. But I just get scared like lending other people my things. So like, my underwear included? Are you kidding?
I often say to Brandon, I go, ooh, what do I say? That's an item.
I do not like to share.
Because like there are some things where okay, confession. I have asked both Casey and Bailey and Brandon multiple times, can I borrow y'all's deodorant? I feel like a sick, disgusting grosso when I ask them for that, because it is a personal item. It literally goes in one of the stinkiest crevices in your body. But I would rather share a trusted friend's deodorant than to smell like absolute BO.
But you know you spray now, so I got you, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned TMI, but I learned my lesson because we were on vacation. I forgot my deodorant. And I was like, oh, me and my boyfriend use the same deodorant. Like, I'll just use his. And I got an infection in my armpits for like 3 weeks. And I couldn't wear deodorant for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, I'm not like an inherently bad smelling person, but I had a lot of anxiety going out because I'm like, I don't think I smell, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't even use other people's deodorant now because
It's probably not
wouldn't
good for like the hair follicles and all the dirt and
and there's
bacteria.
so much. I don't know the scientific behind it, but there's like a lot of pores in your armpits, and it like is very leads to like everywhere else. So
And deodorant is bad for you. Apparently, like it has aluminum and other chemicals in it that we're not supposed to. I will not use deodorant.
Yeah.
That's insane. But yeah, it's not good for you.
So if you lent your underwear to a friend, would you just be like, just keep them? I don't like if your friend was like, if I came over and we were going to an event, I was like, Lindsay, I need to borrow a pair of underwear. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Would you just be like, you keep it? Or would you ask me to wash it and give it back to you?
I wouldn't want them back.
Yeah, just keep
Even
it at that point.
shapewear would be like, even bodysuits.
I'm not letting y'all wear my shapewear.
Yeah.
Like that.
I wouldn't share a bodysuit. I would share bodysuits with you two. You don't wear bodysuits, but I would share with you too. I would share bodysuits with you two, but most people I would be like, no.
Yeah.
That's too close to my
Coochie.
holes.
I know a lot of girls who like girls who live down the beach for a summer or live in beachy towns. They have like a communal bathing suit like bin, and all the girls just put their bikinis in like the bin, and you wear whatever one you want.
See, now I feel like a hypocrite because I have shared bathing suits. So it's like, why do we treat bathing suits different than underwear?
Damn, yeah. Different material.
I guess you're right, and different like use. Like it's not
Different
And
uses.
if you actually get in the pool, chlorine, maybe that makes it nastier.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You don't wear them as long.
I feel like it's also like the awareness of it. Like I'm like that too. Like I could be doing something gross for a while, but the second I realize that I think it's gross, I get like super, and I'm like, oh, I can never do that again.
Yeah.
But like all the times I did that before, I like didn't think, like I used to get gas for the longest time and I didn't have a hand sanitizer in my like car. And I would like cover the thing and touch the little knob with the gas pump. So I tried to touch it not as much as like I could. And then one day I was like, oh, that's fucking gross. I'm like touching the gas with no hand sanitizer. And now I could never get gas without having hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it's the awareness. Like once you become aware of it being gross, maybe we didn't think about the bathing suits being gross. Now that you're aware of it, maybe you wouldn't share them.
It's not an item I would share anyway. But like, you know, when you're like, oh, I don't have a bathing suit.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
or like, oh, that's really cute. Can I take a
Yeah.
picture in it? I don't know.
Will you do that?
Maybe.
That is weird to think about. Why doesn't the bathing suit gross me out as much as the underwear?
I know.
Yeah.
And some people at the pool do gross me out. Like there are people who I'm thinking about where I'm like, I would never.
And it might
share a
be
bathing
even
suit.
grosser because like some underwears like are up your ass. So
Yeah.
that's like two holes.
Would you share underwear, Brandon? You wear different underwear than us.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
No. I did once with an ex, but yeah.
Okay, but have we all worn our boyfriend's underwear? Boxers? Like I would do that.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
are quite literally the closest to that part of my body out of anyone. Like that's not
that,
something
yeah,
where
that
I'm
was
like,
why I was like, well,
that doesn't
That's
bother
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
yeah, that's hard. Damn.
All right. Does anyone have anything on their FYP this week?
Mine is unfortunately all Chapel Roan canceling her show and videos surrounding it. And I feel very like mixed opinion on this because I've seen like every side, which is weird. And just even say that. And then like there's been a whole controversy because there was an SNL skit and everything. And I don't know. I just like feel very conflicted because I think obviously she should not have done that. I don't think she should have pulled out of her shows. But then at the same time, I'm like, kind of another, like, where do we draw the line? Like, where it comes to, like, mental health? Because I think it's very easy to, like, judge someone from the outside, but, like, to really have no idea, like, what exactly they're going through. Like, I just feel like we look back on early pop stars from the 2000s and we're like, how do we, like, let, like, society treat them like that? And I'm not saying this is the same thing at all, but I'm like, do we learn our lessons? Like, I don't know. I was thinking about it very deeply. And I was just like, you know, and Lindsay and I were talking about last night. It was like, Chapel had said at one of her shows early in the summer that she was like kind of feeling overwhelmed with like how quickly things were getting successful for her. And obviously like it just continued to blow up. And I think the average person would be like, well, that's amazing. Like things are going great for you, but maybe she wasn't ready for all of it. And I don't know. It was just like a very weird situation. And I saw John Summit like made a video and he was just like, we have the best job in the world. Like that's never okay to do that. And that's okay. Like if that's how you feel. But I was just like, damn, like that's like also shitty too. I don't know. It's just the whole situation just made me like sad.
Yeah, I see what you mean about not really having an opinion because I feel like I see both sides too. Like part of me instantly thinks like, I think about people like Taylor Swift who has been scrutinized and destroyed in the public eye for a good portion of her career. Like people just always love to hate her. And she has always performed and always like, you know, put that aside. Me and Bailey always talk about the Katy Perry documentary where she was going through her divorce and she went out on stage and she pushed through like the worst personal thing you could go through. And she went out and performed. And like on that side of it, I think you enter this career for a reason and people spend their hard-earned money to come see you. And you have, whether it's fair or not, you have an obligation to respect the fact that people are paying money to see you.
Yeah.
So on that side, I'm like, I see what she shouldn't have done that. And then on the other side, I do see what it's like. We have seen so many pop stars fall down a bad hole because the public didn't treat them the way that they deserved.
Yeah.
Is this an example of something that we could be treating her better? Like it is a weird situation that I feel like hasn't happened before in this way.
Yeah. And then someone also like made a video that was like describing it as like very Gen Z versus boomers, where like boomers want to like always like, you always have to work, you have to put your best foot forward. And like Gen Z is kind of seen as like the people who like are soft, quote unquote. And I don't know. It was just the whole thing. I like I said, I just like couldn't really form a solid take on it because I was like, damn, like I was overthinking it, but I was just like, I see a lot of different angles here.
Did she say why she canceled it?
She said that she was like very overwhelmed and for her mental health, like couldn't perform.
I think it was something along the lines of like, I want to give my best self and I have a lot, like there's a lot of pressure or something.
Yeah.
To that regard.
I guess when you think about the fact that Casey, you said it's people spending their hard-earned money, it's kind of like if you were to go to any job, like sometimes you have to say, hey, to your friend, like, hey, can you help me out with this presentation? Or like maybe Chapel would have to lip sync some of her songs because they're too emotional for her to actually sing. Or like, I feel like there's always a way that you can like push through it. And if there was something that was really deep, like maybe telling your fans that. Again, I'm not a concert selling pop star. So like, I have no idea the pressure. But like, I just feel like there could have been a way around that to maybe make yourself happy, but also make your fans happy too.
Yeah. I feel like she's been in the public eye a lot too recently because I think she's very different from Chapel Roan. Like who she is as a person is very different than the character and the celebrity of Chapel Roan because like, she's like, I don't want to take pictures with fans in public and I don't want to do these things. And she's drawing these boundaries, which is her right to do so. But like her persona of Chapel Roan doesn't seem that way. You listen to these songs where it's like bad bitch energy and going out and all these things. And you would think that she would be like, you know, like outgoing and all this stuff. And it obviously like her real personality is different.
But then it's like, it's the price you pay. For example, even our podcast, I told my parents, I was like, can you not tell your friends that I do this? And they were like, no, you have a podcast that anybody can view. And it's like, they're right. So that's the price you pay. Like if it's out in the world, unfortunately you have to play that part even when it gets hard. I don't know. I'm sure she's really hurting and my heart aches for her. But at the same time, it's like, I see what you guys mean also.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been all over my FYP.
Yeah. This isn't FYP related, but it is something that I've noticed, and it's with YouTube, and it's actually really fucking crazy. Might not be even that crazy, but I watch YouTube a lot just for like podcast related purposes. So like when I'm getting ready, I'll watch it on my phone in the morning, and like when I'm working from home, I'll just like have it on my TV. So two different things. On my phone, the ads aren't like, I can skip the ads within like 15 seconds. Like, you know, on YouTube, they play really fast. However, I've noticed when I'm watching YouTube on Roku or any type of TV, the political ads are so long to the fact that I can't skip them. It's like it takes 60 seconds. And I've noticed, like, I wonder if they do that because like you're looking at such a bigger screen and you have to sit there and watch it versus a phone. Which is like, maybe it's opposite. I don't know why it wouldn't be the opposite way around, but I just find out so odd. I don't find political ads on my phone, but once I open up my TV and watch that same video on YouTube, it like, the ads are so much longer. I can't skip them.
That's so true. I watch YouTube. That's like, I watch it more than any other streaming platform.
Yeah.
And I'm now thinking about it, which I've never realized. I feel like I always get like therapy ads.
It's always better.
Understood. Yep. I always get therapy ads or like contact lenses because I feel like I'm always talking about my eyesight on my phone. But then, when I watch YouTube TV, like on my screen, it is political ads. Wow.
Yeah. And you know, it's like they're so long that like you can't even skip them. It just says next. Like you can only go to the next one and watch that for 30 more seconds. But it's so odd. I noticed that over the past 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, this is really crazy how they're tapping into this. Because like I kind of have to sit there and watch the whole ad so I can know when to skip it so I can get back to my show.
And they're horrible. Those political ads. Brandon and I, there's one in particular where we just sigh when it comes on. We're like, no, please.
They be talking bad on Casey's name.
In Philly. They crack me up because I just feel like they just say like the most basic sentence, but it's like the way they say it. They're like, Bailey has a podcast.
It gets my attention.
And it like sounds like the worst thing you've ever heard. And it's like, what?
The way my head, I'm like, oh, what they saying? I'm like, who's this sponsored by? Like, the ads get me. I'm like, damn.
Sometimes I Google the sponsors. I'm like, all right, what are y'all about?
Yeah. Paid for the,
I feel like instead of fan edits, we should start making like political ad edits of people and just like saying like the meanest things, but in like a funny way.
Yeah.
That's creative.
Honestly,
Yeah.
brands who have done us wrong.
Oh, Domino's for that delivery driver.
You know what?
Domino's hires people that traffic women. Wait, that's really bad.
Wait, someone clips that. Just that.
That's really bad.
Papa John's use it for like a competitor campaign. Damn.
Anything else? Should we keep all of this between us girlies?
The Papa John's thing. Like, let's keep that.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
This was a spooky one.
Yeah.
Scary.